Welcome to the People's Podcast. Frisbee touchdown. It's the time again. Couple of best friends hanging out in Malibu. Let it loose. It's week 0 with 18 more to go. Last year's champ, where are you at? Sean O'Malley got a target on his back. The stakes are high, for the record I will run a beer mile. If the Sacco goes to Scotty, no.
And we're live. Welcome to the Week 2 summary recap. Update People's Pods / Serial Killer Pod. I'm your host, Aaron Weaver, with fellow host, Colin Gall.
What animal carcass did Weaver see this past weekend?
Find out in 1.5 hours. Quick.
Yeah, here we go. So, how's your weekend? What's going on?
My weekend was strenuous. It was a classic going to visit family in Orange County. Ergo, we're gonna just bang them all out. Wrong choice.
Good
of
to
words,
bang. Good to bang it out. Sometimes you
good to bang it out with your family. Yeah, it will. Friday night saw Ashley's best friend. Saturday morning saw Ashley's dad. Saturday afternoon saw Ashley's mom. Then we drove her mom to her sister's house and had a nice birthday dinner for her mom with the nieces and nephews. It was a lovely time. Went, dropped them off, hopped over to Max and Kelly's house. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Love them. Hell yeah,
That's fun.
Black. Yeah, Liam and Zoe are just like so dope. Liam's got a cannon. So cool. Made them stay up till midnight playing card games and drinking, and then poor Max, baby Zoe, woke up at 4 a.m. 4:30. Whew, that's tough. We watched the first round of football games together, and then bam, we're off to go see Grandma. Hung out with Grandma. Super funny, classic like old person move. She's like, "Oh, Aaron, so happy that you showed up. There's a chair, there's a stool in the restroom, and a screw's falling out. Can you go fix it for me? The screw should be in there. And yeah, can you just go fix it?" And I'm just like, sure. I'm a man. I can do this. And luckily, I had all the tools necessary to fix the stool. And actually, she didn't, but it's okay. Made it work. Then she had me like move around a bunch of like stuff from like one room into the garage because they're getting rid of stuff. It was just like very laborious. So that was kind of funny. And then headed home. So I only got to watch the morning games, and I was like seriously suffering from FOMO because week 1 group me participation was a little slow, and then this week it was just firing off, and I was just like, I want to be there watching the things. I want to be in the know.
I want to be
and then
where the people are.
I don't want to be in the Buckaroo Fest. The Buckaroo
You got the
Bowl.
W.
That was fun. That's right.
Took that
My
dub
eyes
against my pick.
found a way.
Good to be helpful to Grandma. That's all. That's always good. Also good that she's getting rid of stuff. It's either you get rid of it now or you get rid of it later on. So better to chip away.
Yeah, totally. How about you? How's your weekend?
My weekend, it was great. Saturday morning, I went with one of my street gang teammates to play some disc golf, 2 courses, which I think that's when Pebbles asked me if I was going pro or not. 2 courses, 2 separate places in San Diego. So that was pretty fun. And then we watched a little bit of college football, but not a lot. And then ended up going home. And then what the hell did I do on Saturday night? I just hang out with myself. Chelsea is currently in Latvia with Alina. And yep, she's there for the next, I guess, week or so. Sunday had practice in the morning, so could not watch the morning games. Pretty unproductive practice. It was kind of funny because we had sectionals last weekend, as everybody knows, and the captains of the team were asking some people what we should work on after sectionals, before regionals, and a lot of people, including myself, or at least those who were asked, suggested we work on our offensive H-stack flow because it was a little jumbled. People not exercising patience or creating space for each other, as well as working on, first of all, like selecting and working on like 2 of our zones. For some reason, this team has like 6 zone defenses, all of which are very mediocre. And so we end up like switching between them, and then they get broken in like 5 throws. And it's just like, why the hell are we even doing that? Let's make them at least work 70 yards in person defense as opposed to just throwing out this dog shit zone. So anyway, my feedback was like, let's iron out the H-check on offense and let's select 2 or, a small of these zones and work on them and then cut out the rest of them. So we did that at practice, but this team has a problem with that like feeling where everyone gets to share their opinion about things instead of having like a few voices at the top. It's like a free for all with people giving their opinion, half of which are bullshit opinions. And so this practice turned into like everybody speaking their piece about how the specific situation of a H-stack could work if like the disc swings to this side, but this guy doesn't clear, like we're the positioning the defender, and it's just like the classic, like, oh my God, just fucking shoot me. So we did that for like half of that practice between the H-stack and the zone defenses. Probably good we talked about them, but it wasn't the most productive practice. A lot of people sharing who should not have shared. But in any case, because of that, and practice went over. This is back to where I think I told you last week, we voted on when to have practice this next weekend, Saturday or Sunday, and they decided to keep it on Sunday. So not only was it kept on Sunday, but then it went over like by a half an hour because all these people were sharing their goddamn opinions when I was trying to go watch football. But then, I'm periodically checking like my matchup, like in between like water breaks and whatnot, of course. And then just like last weekend or 2 weekends ago, things are just going like super swimmingly for me. And then when I actually did get to like chime in on the group meet, it was just like a barrage of scoring notifications back to back to back. And so I was feeling insanely smug, very smug. Yeah, just like, doing a victory lap already, right? Went to the grocery store, got a 6-pack, went back home, did my smug shotgun video, which I just like classic Colin, where I make a joke and then just like laugh to myself about it when I made the quip about like my bush fell under 180, so I'm feeling vulnerable. I like chuckled for 5 minutes to myself after saying that line. But anyway, we all saw what happened last night, and let me tell you, I was shaking in my boots.
We could feel it.
But thankfully, Bills didn't want to risk injury to their obviously what the best wide receiver quarterback stack is in football. So I was able to eke it out, even though Justin Jefferson put in a very pedestrian effort last night on the back of Kirk Cousins, just not doing very well. But anyway, that was my weekend.
Did you see the stat, speaking of Justin Jefferson, where when Justin Jefferson and Darius Slay are lined up together, Darius Slay had better numbers than Justin Jefferson? He got 2 interceptions guarding Justin Jefferson to 1 reception for Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins throwing the ball in all of these scenarios.
I did see the stats. I didn't see that actual like last sentence where it was like he had more receptions than Jefferson did, but I did see that Jefferson was, I don't know, like 1 for 7 with 2 interceptions or whatnot. I didn't get to watch the second half of that game because I was coaching, but I did get to watch fucking Josh Allen throw 3 touchdowns to Stephon Diggs.
There's nothing better than when one of those moon balls goes up and it goes off camera and then it starts panning, and it's your receiver that comes into view and then the receiver actually catches it. Maybe that's why I'm so attracted to Russell Wilson as my fantasy quarterback.
Because of the moon balls.
Moon balls.
Dude, 3 touchdowns. First of which it was like looked like what was a prayer to the right side of the end zone where there was 2 receivers and Diggs just made the better play. Maybe it wasn't a prayer because they probably had eye contact and whatnot, but it looked like out of a crowd, Diggs just the one that stepped up and caught it. So I'm like, what is that DB doing? The second one, I don't know. I think that was at the bomb where he was just like behind the defense. I was like, what are they doing? How is he so open behind? And then they replayed it and he completely turned the guy around. He like at the top of his route, he like perfect move. And it was just like, what is going on? And yeah, the third one, I can't remember if it was just like a failed play or a penalty that like brought him back or something. And then of course there was yes, okay, he actually had to fight for that one to get in. But yeah, I was so smug. I was up by like 80 points. And it was like, this is in the bag. And then those 2 combined scored 70 points in 3 quarters.
So remember last year, the whole year, I was like, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Tyreek Hill can combine for 90 points.
They did it.
It happened this week. Yeah. They combined for over 100 points, the 3 players. I am so sad for poor Max.
For Max. This is part of the course, of course, for our league. Moving on. So we do have an atonement segment. You and I did have a bet that we made at the end of last podcast. So I will atone for that with my handy dandy draft weekend crown. Yes, your random no-name kicker York scored 6 points, whereas Gregory Joseph of the Vikings scored 1 point. 1 point, which actually was funny because it was in your matchup, right? And Brad had to drop Butker barely newer, picked up Joseph, and then didn't get much. So 3 for 3 and podcast shots.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, just for everybody that's tuning in this week, we got some feedback. The producers are really going to be on us for a timely show. So we'll be moving through each segment. And I just really want to revel on that note on what a great shot that was. Well done, sir. Now chug that whole water bottle and flip a cup and then shoot a ball.
Would that be some good content? Maybe later future podcast to actually like do a whole relay.
Yeah.
Then get like a Stu time trial circa 2021 or just like 3 minutes.
Just falling apart.
Moving
into fun storylines for the season. So very clearly Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are the best duo by far. They have more than doubled every other stack thus far.
Kupp and Stafford have about 80, but
they have 1 full quarter of extra play time. So if you extrapolate the numbers,
points per quarter is what we're going on now. Points per quarter.
Yes. And in which CD and Dak actually have the lead. No, just kidding. There was some slander from that other pod about not including Tom Brady and Julio Jones as a stack. That's just such a joke. Julio Jones wasn't started. I only focus on starters here, team. And actually, I want to take I want to take my atonement back from last week for when I took a shot for missing out on Derek Carr and Adams on Brad's team because he didn't start Carr in week 1. So
I don't feel so bad about that. I mean, I think yeah, I don't feel bad about you taking shots. I think that's at least the Derek Christ and Devontae are a wherewithal stack. But yeah, Tom Brady and Julio Jones, a little bit questionable because of how poor Julio has been the past few years. But we have crunched the numbers. And that stack is actually ahead of one of these stacks, that stack being the Dak and CD stack. And that's just because they have a 10-point advantage. Brady and Julio do. That's because Dak didn't play a whole game. So Stu, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stacks we are tracking, you are coming in 6th. The Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs stack almost has 100 more points than the Brady Julio stack.
Ow.
Second place, by the way,
So-
is Cup and Stafford at 78, which is still, what is that? Like, that's almost 50 points fewer than Allen.
Yeah, the Kyler Marquise Brown stack isn't exactly working out, but Kyler is putting in mad work, so people can't be too upset about that. Versus me and Brad in our stacks, where it's just kind of each player takes turns really being mediocre.
There's a lot of Russell slander going on online. Do you see how he completely missed? I think it was Javonte Williams for a wide open passing touchdown. You see those kind of images all the time, right? And if he turns around next week, that'll be a thing of the past. But not good.
Mixing that in with Nathaniel Hackett's crippling indecision and
his lack of time management.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun to just read all these negative things about your players. You love to hate to see it.
You want to talk about the pick'em?
Yeah. 2 weeks in, the league pick'em. It's too early to say anybody's dominating. Adam hasn't taken the lead all crazy yet. Currently, me and Stu are tied for the lead with 8 points, based off of 5-1 records last week. And funnily enough, both of our losses were us picking Bill over Stu. So Stu was the reason that we were both wrong. So that's kind of fun.
Picked against himself.
As a reminder, anybody that's trying to participate, make sure you get your league pick'em picks in before Thursday Night Football. Peebly missed 1 week, so there's really 5 of us. It's not too late to catch up, Peebly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what's this separation is 5 picks right now between first and last.
Couple 6-0 weeks and you're in first.
So, listener questions now, talking about PB Lee. So how many times can I say so? He sent us one. That question being, it's actually a 2-parter. Judging on our current records through 2 weeks, and we'll start one question at a time. First question: who will be the last team to get a win? Currently, there are 3 0-2 teams. Pebbles is in 10th, Adam is in 11th, and Brad is in 12th. And, their points for pretty similar, separated by about 30 points between Pebbles and Brad. So, what team gets a win last? Who stays defeated the longest?
Who stays defeated the longest? Well, I think Cuckfest is going to stay defeated the longest. So this week, Cuckfest and Javante's Inferno play each other.
Yep, that's fun. So once someone is guaranteed to win,
somebody is guaranteed not to have a goose egg. And I have a sleeper pick on Dak from Whence You Came this week. I think he might take down.
That's a deep sleeper.
It's a deep sleeper. Yeah. I'm reaching on my boy Bowling Ball.
Reaching makes me feel good. I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
After this week, I think there will only be one winless team, and it'll be Cuckfest.
Well, I agree that Cuckfest is going to be the last to win. I don't think that Adam is going to get a W this week, or next week because he plays Jewish Star. But then in week 5, in week 5, Brad and Adam play. I think they will still both be defeated at that time. Actually, let me just quickly see who Brad's matchup is in week 4.
That is some slander. You don't think? Dang.
Is that
You don't think
racist?
they'll get a win? Oh, what?
Oh no, I thought you were saying I was slandering Max's people. But okay. Well, I don't think he's gonna beat Pebbles. He plays me next, and I'm obviously God's gift to fantasy. So week 5 is Adam and Cuckfest, and I think Adam's team is better than Cuckfest team, seeing as Cuckfest didn't break 70 points. So Cuckfest, we both agree that will be the last person to win a game. Should we choose when that week's gonna be? That's a fun little wrinkle. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's see.
So rude.
Cuckfest will win last. Semicolon. All right, let's see. I think, oh wow, he actually so he has Pebbles this week, me next week. Adam and Brad are playing week 5. He then plays O'Malley week 6. O'Malley just put up 165 points or whatever. Then he plays Max. Then oh wow. Brad may never win again.
Some say he's still looking for a W. We're gonna have to rename him Blad.
I'm gonna I'm
Taking all
guessing
them
that
Ls.
Brad gets his first win in week 8 against Evan, because of course that would happen. Actually, no. I'm gonna take that back. He's gonna beat Max in week 7 because that's Max's luck in this league. Brad's gonna go 0-6, and then he's gonna beat Max in week 7. That's my guess.
How fun! That is so fun. I mean, I guess if we're doing this, I would guess week 5 against Adam might be his best bet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, he's making moves. He's just got a brand new, freshly minted 40-point quarterback on his roster, and he has the Lazard King back from whatever phantom injury he suffered during
very warm rock he was lounging upon.
Yeah, he got stepped on by a child.
Inverse, last team to get a loss. Right now, let's see how many undefeated teams we got. We got 1, 2, 3. We got myself, we got Evan, and we got yourself, who has over 100 points fewer than the first place team currently.
Smuggy.
I wasn't the one to bring that up. In group me, I don't remember who it was. Was it Pebbles who was like, Weaver's going to be 2-0, averaging fewer than 100 points per week, which is true.
Yeah. By points 4, I should be the 10th place team. Have no fear.
You got that fantasy defense. You got that blood diamond defense.
I got the blood diamond bill defense going for me. Yeah, by far the lowest points against. Love to see that. I'm for sure going to be the first team to lose. I think that I'm going to lose this week against Bacon.
Well, also think you're going to. I also think you're going to lose this, but that is not the question. The team is the last team to lose. So we have myself. My matchup is Max this week. Then I play Brad. Then I play Bacon for the next 3 weeks. Whereas Evan plays Bill, then O'Malley, then Scott.
I've got you losing this week as well. So I think that I think Evan is going to be the top dog. Yeah. I think Evan's the top dog. Betting on the Jaguars offense has paid off so far.
Lose last. Man, that shot is not sitting well. I have like an empty stomach, and it's just, I got like a cauldron of fucking crown going on in there. I'm picking myself to lose last.
Shocker. Who saw that one coming?
I would love to hear this discussion continue in the group me as well, because this is a fun one. So last team to get a win, last team to get a loss. Let's hear it, guys.
Mhm.
Do you have any favorite group me posts from this past weekend? I know you said you were kind of out of the loop, fixing stools and moving grandma's things into a storage unit and whatnot, but
Fixing stools and taking names.
fixing stool,
I
banging around, whatever. So you were doing.
I wasn't just fixing that stool. I wasn't just screwing nuts and bolts back into that stool.
You're screwing, unscrewing, and screwing again.
Just screwing something. Gotta be screwing Sutton.
Gotta be screwing Sutton. You won't change your name. You won't do it.
I don't.
Screwing Sutton.
I've changed my name for less.
I'll fucking do it. I'll fucking do it.
I fucking do it. I don't have a single post in mind, but just the like fervor of Monday night. Like, I was just loving the hubris. I mean, your posts on Sunday were amazing, right? Like the shotgun, and then yeah, I think you posted 2 drinking snaps. But yeah, just like the engagement, all the boys on GroupMe chatting about it, the chaos. There were only supposed to be 2 contested matchups. There turned out to be 4. Stu really being miserable. You like trembling in your boots. I just kept imagining they're like, and then I kept looking for a GIF of that, and I couldn't find one, but that would have had you really shook.
The dog sitting in a room full of fire, sipping on coffee. That's like, this is fine. That was what's going on. This is fine. I'm trying to frantically scroll back to the beginning of Sunday and then just like quickly see which ones were the most popular. There are hundreds of messages between then and now. Your photo with Max had 7 likes. Your little, joined arm.
Woo!
Kiss, banging continued. Okay, that was Saturday, blah, blah. A lot of 5ers, a lot of 4s, 5ers. When O'Malley said hot take, Stu knew he got 3 to 5 beers right, but said 2 out of 5, so he drafted a better spot. That got 7 likes. That was from O'Malley, this guy who's going like this.
Yeah.
Fast forward to Stu freaking out. Bill and Jeff Bryden playing disc golf, getting 8 likes, 8 of 11, so that's pretty strong. Just phenomenal podcasting here. There's a bunch of me screenshotting my scoring notifications.
One of your drinking videos only got 2 likes. That's just great. That's how I felt when I had me and Ashley post that video, TikTok, and it only got 4 likes. Like, what the hell? This is great content.
3 likes for my shotgun one. Yeah, come on, guys. That was a good 7 likes for Pebble saying, how do I delete that smuggy smug video from this chat? That's a good one. Everyone's liking that. O'Malley conceding to me, saying fuck it, set the high score record here, Colin. Fast forward, we know how that ended up. Bill and Jeff Bryden getting 7 likes in their drinking picture. That's a good one. Oh, me posting a nice gif of a raccoon eating, getting 0 likes. What the hell? I thought people like raccoons in this chat. Okay. Whatever. In any case, seems like generally the pictures of which all of us drinking, minus my smuggy smug, are getting the most likes.
Yep.
Next question. We got to move it forward here. This comes from Brad, tradesman or tradesman or whatever he called himself, like just a little bit ago.
Shaking my head.
Brad asks, what are the most memorable trades? Most memorable trades. Go ahead.
The one that comes to me is back in the age, I think, of Curtis and Kevin's. I think there was a late QB for defense trade. I forget who or what it was, but there was like massive amounts of uproar over this.
Yeah, I was
over this
involved in
trade.
that trade. And this is one, so I only remember the trades I was involved in, right? That one was me trading the Atlanta Falcons defense to, I want to say it was Evan. Yes. I was trying to get Rashad Jennings from him, who was on the Jags at that time. He was like the RB2, but then RB1 because someone got injured. I had the Bears defense. This is actually in 2013. I remember the year, which is actually this is modern era. So post Kevin's. I had the Bears and the Falcons defense, both of which were the number 1 and 2 defenses in fantasy. Bears were like far and away the best. I was trying to get a running back. We both agreed upon it. We had veto power in that age. And so, yeah, that was a huge debacle. Remember that one? I remember
starting running back for a defense. Crazy.
Both people agreed upon it.
And it ended up being completely irrelevant.
Didn't matter. Yeah. Which is like, 95% of things that we complain about in this league. It just ended up not mattering at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I have so many, but I'm just gonna be quick to these next ones. Max and I made a trade. Pierre Garcon from me to Max for Russell Wilson. The year that Russell went from for 700 rushing yards. And I had like Marshawn and fucking Des Bryant and all of that. That was one of the years of the draft at Max and Pebble's place. I got 5th that year, so it didn't really end up being much, but Max had RG3 and Russell, and he went with RG3. He wanted that stack, the RG3 Garcon stack, which I think RG3 got injured later on in that year too. So he just classic Max's luck. And then we had, fast forward a little bit, Adam and I had the DJ Moore for Hender Dog trade, which Adam for sure won. One of those classic things where I give up on a receiver after like a month, and then he blows up as soon as I get rid of him. So those were my most memorable trades, but those are only the ones that I was involved in. What about you?
The only one that's memorable to me in any capacity is that defense for running back. And I didn't even remember who it was for. I just remember somebody traded defense, and it was like it got vetoed, and there was like multiple days of group me chaos. And then all of it being about much ado about nothing. But let's talk about these trades. What's your initial reaction to Tua for Gabe Davis?
Yeah. There's a podcast like Fantasy Football Focus. They do like regress, assess, and then like something else where it's like kind of like, is it thumbs up, thumbs down? Or it's like buying or selling or holding. For Tua, I'm like holding right now, right? I'm not really sure what to think about him. Obviously he's leading the league in passing yards. They had a ridiculous comeback against the Ravens on Sunday. It seems dumb to say this is unsustainable, but I think Max is selling Tua at like his absolute height of value. Having Hill and Waddle super helps. Both those guys are like wide receiver ones on their own, and they're both going to continue to do well. But I don't imagine he's going to continue this production, and he actually has a great test this next week against the Bills. Gabe Davis, I liked him going in to the draft, someone who I wanted to draft. You had to think that defenses are going to start to pay more attention to Stephon Diggs. And so someone else in that offense has to get some balls thrown their way. So it could be Gabe Davis. Max, this is a classic Max where he's trading from a position of strength, which was, his like plan, obviously, with drafting all these QBs. So I would think that Max is the one that is favored in this trade. I think it benefits both teams, but I think Gabe Davis is going to be more impactful for Max's team than Tua is going to be for Brad's team.
Yeah, I agree. Across the board, great points. I think Tua is so fun, right? Like to have 2 receivers drafted in the first 3 rounds or 4 rounds. Oh, I think he was 5th round, actually. You got Waddle in the 5th. Anyways, really electric performance. It's totally taking advantage of Cutfest, right? He's like panic selling yeah, something's got to change because I just scored 68 points, right? So I think it's a great change. I think both teams get better, and Max is coming from a position of power in this trade. That is, though, assuming Gabe Davis, this injury goes away, right? If it's a lingering thing, then, you know, there is some risk to it, but I'm willing to eat the risk trading a bench slot for a potential phenomenal receiver.
Right.
Replacing
This
his Juju.
trade reminds me of your trade with Scott last year, the Jalen Hurts for Antonio Brown, where when that was made, I said Kyler better not get hurt, and then he did get hurt, and then Scott was kind of, you know, up a creek without a paddle, and Justin Herbert literally like cracked some cartilage in his rib last Thursday, and now, I mean, Max is banking on that that's not a lingering thing, but like, who knows? One more hard hit, and like now Max is gonna be without a quarterback. So there is some risk. I think there's more risk on Max's end than on Brad's end, where yeah, he's trading just a bench guy.
More risk, but also I think more reward, to your point. What do you
What
think
about
about the other one?
This one, I kind of just rolled my eyes. This seems like a panic get for Stu, where he's just dissatisfied with his, well, obviously Trey Lance went down, so RIP. Brady's got to play better, right? I mean, it's gonna happen. This to me is just kind of like meh. It's like nothing for nothing. The Lizard hasn't done anything. Rodgers hasn't done anything. Brad seems to try and like fill the hole that he traded Gabe Davis for with the Lizard. I'm pretty sure Brad like automatically put him in the starting lineup though. Yeah, he's currently his wide receiver 3 in that starting lineup. And then Stu also put Rodgers in. So obviously those guys think that they're getting something and they're going to be better off for it. But from the outside looking in, both of those players have been unimpressive, and I don't exactly think that's going to change.
Yeah, I agree. And something interesting to me is that a lot of the like lower tier players, well, 2 trades and bench players or like lower tier, right? I wonder how long it's going to be until we see a bigger name get moved as desperation really starts to settle in for teams, you know, like, fuck, I'm over here 2-0, but you best believe I'm also considering trade options, right? The phone, my assistant is accepting phone calls, everybody.
Before the game started on week 1, Max sent me a trade, which I didn't accept, sat on it, and then he took it away, which I'm now, I don't fully want to like divulge what was said, because if I was in Max's position, I wouldn't be stoked about that. But I'm now left questioning if it would have been a good idea for myself to take it.
That's fun. And
So I realized it's a very ambiguous thing I just said.
Yeah, some talks were had and they failed. Totally on board with not divulging. Yeah, because it's kind of like in bad faith. Like O'Malley,
Yep.
I think that I've talked about trade talks with O'Malley before, and he blew me up and grouped me, rightfully so. You know, never kiss and tell, right? Even when
that's right,
you don't actually kiss. You don't tell anybody that you almost kissed somebody. You definitely tell them if you did kiss, because everybody can see it.
2 more sections. I think we have time to dedicate time to one and then blow through the next one. So do you want to comment on the waiver wire pickups, or just blow through them and then leave time for the matchups, or vice versa?
Let's talk about the waiver wire and blow through the matchups.
All right. So we did someone, I think it was O'Malley, who was like, hey, I want to see the point per dollar spent, right, for these waiver wire guys, at least for week 1. So every player that had money spent on, I did some quick calculations for. So I'll just read that off, and then I'm going to read off a value. I wanted your reaction to it. So Gerald Everett, tight end. I picked him up. He scored 10.1 points. I spent $1 on him. He's averaging 10.1 points per dollar spent.
Round of applause. Great pickup and potentially your like future tight end, right?
Alberto puts up 0 points this past week. So yes, that literally could have been the difference in my matchup.
It was the difference. No?
There were many other factors. Like O'Malley said that he thought about playing Myers instead of someone else on his team and didn't get some points. I also got rid of the Chargers defense for the Pittsburgh defense, and the Pittsburgh defense did terrible after putting up 23 points last week. So, there's a bunch of dominoes. But had I played Alberto, then I probably would have lost. Next one, Miami defense, $2 spent, -4 points scored. So -2 points per dollar spent. This is a defense that Weaver played. Instant reaction.
Ow.
Which for everybody else that we go on past this, and sorry to interrupt you, this is by far the lowest points per dollar spent of the rest that we're going to mention.
There's nothing worse than starting a player that is a handicap to your team. You like knowing that had I just done nothing, I would have been better off. If I had not started a defense, I would have been better off. The worst. Ugh. Yeah. So that sucked.
Next player, Kicker York, 6 points scored, $2 spent, 3 points per fab dollar, and 1 shot taken by Colin.
The shot was totally worth it. 6 points. Meh. We'll see. Jury's still out.
Pittsburgh defense, 3 points scored, $3 spent, 1 point per dollar spent.
Yeah, doesn't move the meter at all.
Nah. All right,
Neutral.
Wentz, 27.78 points scored, $6 spent, 4.63 points per dollar.
Huge win. Huge win. That's big for the momentum of Dak from whence he came.
That team, yeah. Let's see, what was the margin?
And a new team name. Don't even forget about that.
Dak from whence we came. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, he lost that matchup.
Still, it wasn't because of his garbage quarterback.
That is true, and I also think this is a great investment for sure. Sorry, Adam. Okay, let's see. Next one, we got Evan Duvernay on the Ravens. 11.2 points scored, $8 spent, 1.4 points per dollar spent.
I still think the $8 was too rich, but he scored a touchdown, so I guess I'm the idiot.
Yeah, I kind of like this as a long con play. Bateman and Andrews are obviously going to eat, but Duvernay played. He ran kickoff for a touchdown. Yeah, so
yeah,
I like that spend. I think that's like a assess, just like Tua. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks.
He's a boomer bust player that's boomed twice already. 2 for 2.
Yeah.
He
All
just
right,
keeps
next
booming,
one.
booming.
We got Warren, who's the Pittsburgh backup running back. 2 points scored, 11 uncontested fab dollars spent, which works out to a 0.1818 point per dollar spent. This is a Cuckfest acquisition.
When you phrase it that way, it's very bad, right? But at the time of waiver wires, we didn't know whether or not Najee Harris was going to play. So I would have ranked it good given that context. The way the dominoes fell, it's bad. But given the context of Wednesday last week, I liked it.
Yes, the potential backupness does work. Maybe down the line. It actually connects to the next one, which is Hilliard. Brad also picked him up $15. Calculator error because it was 0 points divided by $15. So 0.0000000 per dollar spent. Similar thing. Backup running back to King Henry.
Turns out he would have gotten a lot of points this week as the pass catching back. He potentially could have made that game a little bit more competitive so that Diggs and Allen Stack could have
the
played a full
dominoes.
game. Yeah.
Maybe they throw him
Yeah.
out there on at safety and doesn't get beat.
Yeah. Yeah. But currently a massive overpayment.
Next one, Curtis Samuel, acquired by Bakeroo, who was benched. Actually, I forgot to say this, but Duvernay, Warren, Hilliard, and Samuel all did not crack the starting lineup for those who had acquired them. 19.4 points for Samuel. Great week. $15 spent. So currently 1.29 points per dollar spent. Curtis Samuel, instant reaction.
I love the pickup. This is a big win. Big win. He should have started him last week. It didn't end up mattering. He got the easy dub because Scott's team got lost on the way to Sunday Night Football. But yeah, this is a huge pickup. It's going to be a weekly starter. He's very clearly a main focus of that offense, despite having the much more athletic, talented receiver of Scary Terry.
Yeah, this was totally worth it. I think everything you just said, plus Stu's little mini freak out for Bacon beating him on the waivers and then not starting him last week.
Yeah.
Moving into another Bacon acquisition, the Tasmanian Devil. 1.4 points scored, $65 spent, coming in at a 0.0215 point per dollar spent. Still currently Bacon's starting tight end.
Still more points than Hilliard, more points than Miami defense, more points than any pickup that was benched. But I mean, we all agreed this was a huge overspend. It wasn't even, nobody else bid for Taysom Hill. I think that Jameis Winston playing with a broken back is a huge boon for this.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
Jameis getting hit one time in the wrong way, and now all of a sudden Bacon's tight end is playing quarterback. So, I mean, I agree with Stu on this. Totally ridiculous. I remember I had Jalen Samuels as a Steeler. He had the running back tight end designation, and he started a game as a running back. So that was just amazing production-wise. So if that ever happens, it'll be controversial, and Yahoo will have to make a decision because he is more fullback than quarterback. But yeah,
what happens?
Currently,
what decision could they make? It couldn't be a retroactive decision. It would have to be like a future week's decision, right?
Yeah. But currently, terrible investment, but it still has a pretty high ceiling.
Agreed. And that was one of those things where you like hate to love to see it, or it could be hate to love to see it if you're not Bacon's opponent the week that he gets two quarterbacks starting in his lineup.
Oh my God.
Blowing up against somebody else. It'll be against two, of course, whatever those two guys play, but
or Max.
Or Max, yeah. Cool. Okay. So I think we got about 10 minutes left here. We got our 6 matchups. So I think we can do a little comment or two on each matchup.
Perfect. I love comments.
All right. Why don't we start
Which one
from
start with?
I think in general. So I want to start with the Bill Evan matchup. Let's do that one. So Taylor Shirts Company versus We're Gay Now. I do want to say that I like how 4 of these 6 matchups are like classic Frisbee touchdown matchups this week. We have not this one or the next one we'll talk about, but we have Colin versus Max. Max and I have been rivals since the beginning. Even when we started randomizing it, we were still rivals. We got East Wing, Bacon versus Weave. Fun one. We got Adam versus O'Malley. Also, I think it's a classic rivalry. And then we have a Stu versus Scott. So I think that the
old
rival
married
potential
couple.
is high. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill and Evan. Who you got?
I've got Evan, and just looking through these teams right now. Cole Kmet, the fantasy draft darling, has 0 points, less points than Taysom Hill. Jonathan Taylor hasn't figured it out yet, shockingly. So I'm going with Evan. He's riding those Jags to victory this week. You're dying.
I know I am dying. Also taking We're gay now. Just quickly looking at it. I think Bill's guys have some tougher time going on. I mean, specifically Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and we're playing against the Chiefs. I imagine that not that the Chiefs have a phenomenal defense, but I think the Chiefs are going to come out to a big lead, and then Colts are going to be forced to throw it a little more. Don't poke your eye out there. That's freaking me out, man.
I'm freaking out, man.
I'm freaking out. Also, we get Henderdog against the Cardinals. The Cardinals seem not to have a very good defense, so I think he will be involved. But not as much as on the other side of it, where we got Samuel we talked about. He's already now back to that, like, whatever. What was it? What's it called? Not halfback, wide back
Yeah.
position. McCaffrey against New Orleans, kind of questionable, but Dylan is involved against Tampa Bay. That one's also tough. But I think Mark Andrews is going to do well, and I think James Robinson is going to do well. And we got the Niners defense against Wussel, which will be a fun one. So I'm taking Evan.
Wussel.
I'm taking Evan. Next one. Let's do Pebs and Brad, or Javante's Inferno and Cuckfest 2020.
Yeah, this one is pretty easy for me.
We kind of talked about this earlier on. It is fun that we had the 10th and 12th place teams playing against each other. And then, yeah, I mean, I think what bent the needle towards Pebbles for me is that Tua's got to go up against Buffalo. I think this matchup is a little closer than the Bush currently shows, especially because Brad doesn't have a defense right now. But I think there's going to be a reality check for the Dolphins against the Bills. And I think Pebbles wins this one. And I do want to shout out fucking Garrett Wilson of the Jets, who just exploded last week. I feel like they're just going to continue to lean on that talent. I think the Jets are better than people think they are.
Yeah. Robert Saleh is a great coach. He gets the best out of his players. I miss him dearly on the Niners. I agree with you. It's not necessarily that I'm like stoked on Pebbles' team. It's more so that I think that Brad's team is in a rough spot, especially if Jerry Jeudy doesn't get to play this week. That's going to be a huge issue. And he's starting Zay Jones right now, so that hurts. Anytime you say that, you're just not really juiced to be like, oh yeah, cool, Zay Jones is in my starting fantasy lineup. But
yeah. Silver linings. We steal Stu's segment. That'd be so funny if we just stole Stu's segment. I was gonna say
TM.
silver lining. Yeah, TM. God, that'd be funny. Dawson Knox got 5 targets from Josh Allen, which is a good amount for a tight end, none of which were touchdowns. But the Dolphins try and take away Diggs, especially they got Xavier Howard, who's a really good corner. I could see some of those receptions turning into touchdowns for Brad. And then, Knox goes from 6 points to like 16 points or something like that. But I'm taking Pebbles.
That is why I was firmly on the stack train on Monday, because if Diggs is catching touchdowns, then that means Knox is not. Got lucky there. Whew.
Let's do O'Malley and Adam.
Ooh, you go first.
In this one, I'm taking one of these guys. This guy's a guy. I'm taking O'Malley. I'm taking O'Malley because he just put up the second most points in the league this past week. And how can you bet against the stack after what they just did? On top of that, some of Adams' higher investment players have not produced. CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Kyle Pitts, all of whom have severely underperformed. So it's hard to bet on Adams' team right now. Silver lining? No, I won't. I'll stop doing that. I'm saying you can't bet against the stack. So I'm taking O'Malley.
Yeah, very fun. I'm zagging. You're zigging. I'm zagging. I'm going Adam here. Michael Thomas. It's too early to say that he's back, but he's looked incredible. He has 3 touchdowns in 2 games. You'll love to see that. The King, Derrick Henry, is finally going up against a manageable defense. I think he's going to feast on the Raiders, the dumpster fire that is the Raiders.
You don't think the New York Giants are a manageable defense?
Not under Dabble, apparently. But yeah, Derrick Henry, Antonio Gibson is being force fed the football right now. So like, that's great for him. Pitts, I mean, do you think this is like a fun, something I think about very often, right? Like Kyle Shanahan just got Trey Lance injured, and he's like strongly defending his position about having Trey Lance run options straight up the gut, right? He's like, that was a smart play. You know, you're all armchair quarterbacks, or coaches, shut up, right? Like, it was smart. But like, the media can't always be wrong, right? So I wonder, like, with Kyle Pitts right now, 1st round draft capital last year, everybody's screaming from the rooftop, get this man the ball. What do you think goes through these coaches' minds? I don't get it. They're not living in a bubble, right? It has to be getting to them somehow.
Yeah, I think it's tough to be a coach. I think no matter what you do, if you don't have success, you're going to be questioned, second guessed, which is perfectly fine and part of the job, right? These guys are being compensated so much. I have no issue with the Trey Lance decision running as part of that guy's game. That's a freak accident, right? I think Shanahan is right. We're saying like they do it elsewhere, like in Buffalo. Although actually less now. Josh Allen didn't run for any touchdowns last week. But it's like part of Lance's game. And it's actually part of like the growing NFL too. Like all these running quarterbacks are like starting to be a thing. So I don't really have issue with that one. I have no explanation for why Kyle Pitts has been underutilized. Doesn't really make sense to me.
You think these coaches have been like just so high and mighty that they're just like, fuck the media, like it, and it makes them go further down the path that they're going? You know, like, you know what? We don't need Kyle Pitts. We're going to use Drake London instead. Let me prove the media wrong.
That may be a factor of it, but like the investment in the draft capital in Pitts is kind of akin to McLaurin and the investment that the Commanders made in him. It's like you made the investment, you got to utilize the investment. Otherwise, like you're wasting the investment. So I think these coaches know more than you and I do, but I think Pitts needs to be more involved.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder, do they? I listened to a couple Dan Campbell speeches, and I just don't know. But yeah,
I could coach the Lions.
I could coach the Lions. I could fill up a pair of pants with chalk and release it. That's all the shit from last year. It's gone. We're looking forward now. I'm going to do that with the Aviators next year. But yeah, I'm picking Adam. His team can boom. He just has had some bad luck so far.
He does have boom potential. And I do think it would be, I don't know if fitting is the right phrase, but to have Derrick Henry blow up against the Raiders.
Yes. Bittersweet symphony playing in the background.
Bum, 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 bum. Next matchup, we got Papa Don't Preach, I'm on Trouble Deep. Papa Don't Preach, I'm on Trouble Deep versus performance enhancing drugs. Who you taking?
two team names that don't show up on the matchup. You hate to see it.
Papa don't preach
Like-
a mantra, ... and performance enhancing ...
Performance enhancing D. Come on, that was an
Oh,
easy
Oh, yeah, damn
D.
it. Oh, I apologize,
moment.
Scott, and to everyone in the league. Yeah,
You should.
that's
You
a
suck.
gimme.
I'm going with Papa don't preach a mantra because he's been booming, and I think it's going to continue. I think that the opposite of silver linings for this team right now, he just traded for Aaron Rodgers going up against Tampa Bay. I mean,
Yep.
that seems foolish to me
That's a
personally.
tough one.
And Aaron Jones also going up against Tampa Bay, who have been just like phenomenal against running backs. But I don't think it's going to matter. I think this team is just going to be able to overwhelm Scott's team. And so that's why I chose Stu. Oh, but now I'm having second thoughts. Utah.
I also took Stu. I think that Stu's team is better, whereas Scott's team kind of came down to what we thought they would be week one. He's still got Pierce in his lineup, Pierce and the hard man, both of whom I think are highly questionable at this point. Also, Penny did well Penny didn't really do anything week one, and then he just really did nothing last week. I think Joe Burrow could blow up against the Jets potentially, although we did talk about how they're better than people think. I mean, the Browns just put up like 30 points on them, but I think this could be a get right game for Joe Burrow. But yeah, Stu's got the Browns, and then Dalvin Cook against the Lions. He needs to get right. And then we just saw what happened to the Titans. So I think we'll also have a good game for Stu. So that's why I'm taking Stu.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Calling against Max. What do you got?
I've got Maxwell Star done. Or it's just Maxwell done.
We got the Okefenokee.
This is assuming I'm choosing Max with the asterisk.
There's no
Big
asterisk.
asterisk.
You're choosing one or the
There's
other.
a big one. Oh no, I have the right to claim an asterisk, and that is because my pick is fully dependent on Herbert, Kamara, and Gabriel Davis playing. If they do, I think he takes the win against you. Easy.
Easy, huh?
Yeah.
I just
I
high
think-
spotted the league 2 weeks in a row. It's gonna be easy for him.
I think this is going to be a classic case of Dickerous, where you are starting off so strong. There's so much early offense coming out of you that you are going to flare out. You might go 5-0 and then pulling Adam. It's not unheard of. Adam has done this before. 5 wins in a row and then boop, 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 boop.
6 wins in a row he had.
6 wins in a row. Yeah. So I'm calling, and this is good. You know, your team
Dickerous.
needs to face a little adversity before the playoff push. I'm going Max.
Well, I'm taking myself. Colin takes Colin. This will be a tight one. He currently has the Bush lead. I think that Jefferson is going to have a get right game. More, towards maybe not 34 like when week 1, but just more towards what we expect of him. Waddle's probably going to come back down to earth because they're against the Bills, although I expect him to be down. So who knows? He could be force fed the ball. I mean, he got fucking 19 targets last week. Chubb just scored 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, they're booming. It definitely is a boom. That was a boom last week. There's a few spots of which I hope to get more production. I mean, basically my RB2 is trash. And I hope that Pittman is back. So I wouldn't say an asterisk because I'm sticking with my team no matter what, seeing as they just put up 170 without Pittman. But I would really appreciate Pittman to be back, so I don't have to choose between Cooper, Jacobs, and Patterson, who now I really have no idea what to think about Patterson week to week.
Yeah.
We're on Max's end. Yeah, the Jacksonville matchup is a dream for Herbert if he plays. I don't know what to think about Barkley or Kamara. I really like them, as we have talked about before. But now they both, Kamara didn't even play because he's kind of banged up. And then Barkley had a ho-hum game. I mean, 10 points is fine, but like, that's not what you're banking on from that running back. So I don't know. This might be the closest matchup of the week, but I'm going to go with myself until I lose. And then I'll continue to go with
Yeah.
myself after that.
Of course. I think that the Bill Evan matchup is the matchup of the week, personally. But yeah.
With the last matchup of the week, yeah, I hope he loses being a 2-0 pretender right now. Where the hell is oh, there you are, the Virgins. Okay. Classic East Wing matchup. We got two, I won't call them heavyweight contenders. We got two contenders. They're both guys. These guys are guys. In this matchup, I am taking the Tasmanian Devil. This is the second week, at least, that I've picked against you. I can't remember what my week one was. And I will tell you why. I'm taking Bacon because of the stack is great. Your stack is not great. Jamar Chase could potentially feast against the Jets, akin to Joe Burrow, when I predicted. But beyond that, I think things get a little sketchy for you, where we talked about Curtis Samuel being in Bacon's lineup. He's there now. I expect the Chiefs to be up, so CEH do some work. Montgomery, even though the Bears got stomped on by the Packers, still had a good game, 122 yards rushing on 15 attempts. Really not a believer in Taysom Hill, but you currently have the Miami defense against Buffalo, which, if I was a betting man, I imagine will change. But Wilson, Tunyon, Hunt, and Sutton are all question marks to me. This one also be close, but I'm going with the Bacon stack.
Very nice. I am also choosing the Bacon stack. Yeah, dabbing on myself. My team just doesn't feel very good right now.
They gotta prove something.
Yeah. We did what we needed to do to get the W, right? Like, we can pretend that last week was the monsoon game, me versus Brad in the Buckaroo Bowl. But yeah, Russell Wilson going up against the Niners. I mean, he always does like fuck us up annoyingly. So I hope that doesn't happen. But I just don't have good vibes this week, and I feel like I should have lost last week. So karma's going to be coming back around for me. What's that movie where like death is coming for the people? They escape it once, but then it keeps finding them. Final Destination. That's
yes,
what it
that
is.
one.
The L is coming for me. It's hunting me down, and it's going to get me. It's going to catch up to me this week. I love you, Bacon. Congratulations. I'm not throwing in the white flag. Hopefully Keenan Allen is back, but I'm scared.
Very good. We are only differing in two games, the Colin Max matchup and the O'Malley Adam matchup. Otherwise, we have all the same picks. It's been a pleasure. I got to run.
Goodbye.
See you later.
And goodbye.
Good luck, everybody, except for Maxwell
and Bacon.
Welcome to the People's Podcast. Frisbee touchdown. It's the time again. Couple of best friends hanging out in Malibu. Let's it loose. It's week 0 with 18 more to go. Last year's champ, where are you at? Sean O'Malley got a target on his back. The stakes are high. For the record, I will run a beer mile. If the sackle goes to Scotty, no.